All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Cup of Gold by John Steinbeck. This is John Steinbeck's very first novel that he ever wrote and got published. Came out in 1929. I did a review of Grapes of Wrath. I did a review of East of Eden, his two most popular books. Of Mice and Men might be up there in the three anyway. But anyway, this one is a lesser known book. It is his first novel. So I do have all of the John Steinbeck novels. If you watched my video of my John Steinbeck collection of books that I put up a couple weeks ago, you will know that I have them all. I thought, why not just read the very first one he ever wrote? So far, I've only read 3.5 of his books. I read Grapes of Wrath, East of Eden, Of Mice and Men, and then I've read half of the King Arthur book he did. I need to go back and read that whole thing again. But let's read the very first one he wrote. The cover, let's talk about the cover first, because I love graphic design and cover illustration. The cover was done by Mick Wiggins. I think it's fine. It's a nice painting of a ship there, a pirate ship, because this book is about pirates. It is John Steinbeck's only book of historical fiction. If you think about it, now we think of Grapes of Wrath as being historical fiction. But he didn't, at the time he wrote it, it wasn't historical fiction. It was actually written in the time. But anyway, this was written about the 1600s. It's actually set in the year 1650 through 1660, about Henry Morgan, pirate and outlaw of the historical Spanish Main. He ruled with viciousness and cruelty, and he was a take-no-nonsense type of pirate. And in this book, it's interesting about this book is it's almost set up as the King Arthur story. It's interesting that John Steinbeck, towards the end of his career, wrote an actual King Arthur story. His very first book is a King Arthur story, but King Arthur is not the character. It's this Henry Morgan, the pirate, but he goes through all of the kind of adventures that King Arthur would go through. And up to and including early on, his father tells him to go up into the mountains and talk to the mystic man named Merlin, who's like a magician and a seer and a prophet. And he does. He goes and gets tutored by Merlin. And then the rest of the adventure plays out as if young pirate Captain Morgan is a young King Arthur going off on adventures. It's very cool. So, as a pirate, Morgan pillages the coast of Cuba, the Americas, striking terror in everybody. He is obsessive. He's driven by two ambitions through this book. The first is to possess the beautiful woman, La Santa Rosa. And then his second obsession is to conquer Panama, otherwise known as the Cup of Gold, which is the title of our book, as you can see. Now, for its time, this book was edgy and brash, bold and adventurous. It was very distrustful of society. It was a bloody tale of piracy and rebellion and high seas adventures. And as I was reading it, it was a bit of a yawner. I was like, there's better pirate books out there. I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. There's better pirate books out there. But this was the guy's first book, written in 1929. He was a young man when he wrote it. And he got immeasurably better. My God, Grapes of Wrath, East of Eden, Canary Row, or Canary Row, whatever it is, Of Mice and Men, The Winter of Our Discontent. All of these books are, regarded as masterpieces. Admittedly, this one admittedly by scholars and book historians, this is not a masterpiece. I mean, you know, I mean, for an otherwise lush, lyrical, mystical, swashbuckling pirate fantasy novel, I mean, those are all things you could attribute this to, because it is lush. The writing is, I mean, John Steinbeck's writing is good. It's very lyrical. It's very King Arthur, fantastic fantasy novel-esque. It's very mystical. You know, we've got Merlin. We've got all of that stuff. It's swashbuckling in some parts. But it is a pirate fantasy novel. It's not based on reality. Even though people say this is his one and only book of historical fiction, I think it's a fantasy novel. It's a historical fantasy novel. And I was just, like I said, yawning my way through it. It wasn't that particularly, you know what I mean? I mean, it was like it was kind of like a hairband, you know, that it was the hairband that killed all hairbands. Or maybe that's another video I should be doing. Anyway, that metaphor was so way off. I just wanted you to notice my shirt. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. It was average. It was good enough for me to finish, but not really remember.